Join me now from Beijing is current affairs commentator Einar Tangen. Einar, welcome back to the show. I want to get your opinion on your expectations as to what to expect out of the summit meeting between President Duterte and President Trump.
Well, when you're dealing with two of the most volatile and unpredictable individuals, it's very, very difficult to tell. A lot will hinge on what you said before, whether or not Donald Trump forcefully brings up human rights, despite Duterte's insistence that this is not something they should be discussing. Otherwise, yes, minor irritants like the bells and how the Philippines and China are going to interact on issues like security and trade. These are going to be the main things that shape this, but how it's going to turn out will depend on these two very unpredictable characters.
Well, what do you think are the personal connections going to take form or take shape? Because we know President Trump and President Xi certainly had a pretty good personal relationship. And how do you expect the personal ties between these two presidents to be? And how will that affect bilateral ties?
Well, I think they're very much populists. They believe, in doing what they feel like at the time. They're both pretty casual, and I'll be interested to see how much pomp and ceremony that they give Donald Trump, because that is not Duterte's idea of welcoming somebody. He's more of a casual, let's get together, have a beer kind of thing, and do it as necessary to get things done. So you have a little bit of difference in styles, but yes, everyone's expecting to have quite a nice bromance going. The question is, will the substantive items start dictating things, or will they be able to overcome them?
Talking about substance things, talk about issues, what do you think a U.S.-Filipino alliance will look like in the Trump-Duterte era?
Well, that's something where clearly Duterte knows where his economic bread is buttered as opposed to a security. It's very hard to say. I mean, let's take the most recent situation involving the Islamic rebels who he's been battling in the southern part of the Philippines. He has asked the U.S. for help. There was some, but China was very, very involved. They sent people down. There were obviously no direct threats or involvement or anything like this, but China took an active hand and was there. So there's some real questions about how Duterte wants to balance these two powers. It's certain that he's a very, very practical man, and that he will try to push Philippines' interests the best he can.
Very quickly, 30 seconds. Do you think a strong relations between the U.S. and Philippines is a good thing for China?
I don't think it's a necessarily bad thing. It's a security thing. I don't expect the Philippines to be joining in with India, Australia, Japan, and South Korea as being one of these groups that wants to encircle China. I think they said very clearly that they want a good trade relationship.
Sure. We'll see what the Indo-Pacific concept look like in the future. Thank you so much, Einar. Thank you for your insight.